Hey there, everybody. Welcome to our preview for The Blacklist, Season 9, Episode 19, The Bear Mask. This is coming on Friday. I am stupidly excited for this episode for a lot of reasons that probably do not even make sense to anyone. I am excited for this episode.
No, I'm really excited for this episode. We have had like so many banger episodes right after another. Like it has been so good. The rest of the season has just been like on fire. There was a little bit of a slow start and then it started in the middle getting really good. And now it's like it's so good. The train is going.
Yes, and now we are moving to an episode involving a very strange looking bear mask that looks like a symbol on one of those like ridiculous meme cryptos you see online or something. But you know what? Blacklist producers, if you don't have a use for this mask after this episode, I want it. Send me the mask. Then I can come on here and be like, I'm a bear.
I was going to ask what it is you wanted this mask for.
There are a lot of uses that I can use this mask for, and we don't even need to get into all of them in this video. Just hit that subscribe button. I hope I haven't terrified anyone away. We have reviews, previews, all sorts of other good stuff coming on this season.
Also follow us over on Instagram, Matt and Jess TV. We have some new photos up there of the bunny. You know, we've got some other photos going on with Coco, Harley. All the pets are present. All right, so this mask, I'm pretty excited about the mask too. Not that you're gonna get the mask and be all bearish on these videos.
Hey, I can put it on our Instagram too if they send it to us.
No, I really liked it because it reminded me a lot of Squid Game for any of you who have seen that. It's really good. And when I saw that mask, I was like, oh, that mask looks really familiar. Like it really gives those vibes from that show.
This is either going to be incredibly stupid or incredibly cool. There is like no in between on this bear mask. I cannot imagine a scenario where this episode is just mediocre.
Yeah, no.
Okay, so what's the reasoning behind all of this? Based on the synopsis, because of the weight of recent pressures, Aram is going to turn to an unusual outlet for release. This was kind of alluded to on this past episode.
Yeah, we've seen Aram under a lot of pressure since he's been put in Cooper's position. He's not really doing that well with it. And we know in general, he's kind of a guy who does do well in his element when he's got a little bit of stability. And when things are thrown off for him, he is just out of sorts, which is why I relate to him in a good many ways, because I'm the same. I like routine. I like to go to bed at a reasonable hour. I like to know when I'm going to have my meals. You throw something in there that I don't really know is coming, and then I'm Aram.
This is not a good position for Aram to be in here. And okay, crazy theory on what this bear mask does. In my head, and maybe the Blacklist is going to go in a very different direction, but this is the show in my head, that they're going to have this mask sort of be like, you know those kaleidoscopes where you sort of just look into them and they like sort of visually transport you to a different world?
Are you saying that because it looks like a kaleidoscope on the outside?
Perhaps, but then he puts it on, and then there's probably some sort of like psychedelic kaleidoscope effect inside it where visually maybe he's seeing all this stuff, and maybe there's like some sort of, I don't know if we want to call this toxin, maybe it's some sort of other product, if you will, that will transport him to a slightly different world. Listen, we don't want to get demonetized here. I'm choosing my words carefully.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. And if it was administered by someone he really trusts, then I could see him deciding to try it if he's at a point that he just feels like he just is a bit out of control, needs to get a bit more understanding of himself, a little more stability. But again, Aram's not that kind of guy that typically puts himself in those types of situations. We have seen him do it, but it's not typical for him.
It's a good point, and it makes me wonder, is someone pushing Aram to do this? Like, is somebody strongly recommending it? Maybe Reddington suggests this to Aram, and maybe Aram is just like, okay, I know I need to rebuild some bridges with Mr. Reddington here, so I will go along with his idea.
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, that's the thing about I know Reddington and Aram are not doing that well right now, but as mad as Reddington is about what Aram did, he still loves him and he
Yeah.
still cares about him. And if he knows that Aram is like in this frame of mind at this point, he may very well be like, you know what? I'm gonna put aside what he did and instead I'm gonna help him because he cares about him.
Well, speaking of people we love and we care about, Samar is coming back in this episode. We have talked a little bit about this here and there, and it is, of course, a cause for great celebration.
Yes. So, how is she going
Yeah.
to be coming back is really the biggest question because it seems like she's only coming back for this episode. Not that she's coming back, on the task force. We don't know if she's actually coming back, like, hey, Aram, how's it going, sort of thing, or if there's going to be another way that we're going to see her.
My feeling on it is just with the way that Samar left the show, we don't know where she is, what's going on with her, how she's doing. Like, I feel like she's going to be in the bear mask. And what I mean by that is I think somewhere in Aram's trance or wherever escape he's going, I think he's going to see her as some sort of like vision or dream sequence. Maybe she will be his spirit guide.
I think you're right. However, I would like to see it a little bit differently. I think, yes, she's going to end up being in some sort of dream or vision or something like that because it's going to be harder for the show to do what I would like to see, which is that Aram is in a really bad way. Reddington knows where Samar is and puts him in contact with her as a bit of a way to stabilize him, whether it's through a phone call or a whatever. And I know that they put together on the show this whole she's losing her memory and
Yeah.
whatever. But again, Reddington was supposed to be dying, and here we are 2 years later, and he's completely fine. Magic, nobody knows, but we all buy it. So, I would buy that with Samar because I love her. So if they want to just magically make this memory thing go away, I won't be mad about it.
How could anyone be mad about it? Like Samar and Aram, I thought they were gonna make it for so long.
I still do. I know. I'm wearing the bear mask right now.
Listen, we need happy endings. So many weddings / engagements on this show end really, really terribly.
Yeah, they do. Okay, so there are some pictures out there. We're going to
Yeah.
talk about this quickly of Ouija. It's been released by the network of her in the hospital. So
Yeah.
if there was anybody that was worried that she was actually dead, which I don't think any of us do think that she was dead, she's not. She's in the hospital.
Yeah, she's doing all right. It seems like it feels like she's gonna make it out of there without a problem.
Also, Mirsa is going to be coming back in this episode, and with her sister in the hospital, it makes sense.
It really does. Like, I'm really curious though, like what's she gonna say to Reddington at this point? Because like the whole reason she left supposedly was, okay, you know what? I can't handle this life anymore. I love you, Raymond, but I don't love you like this. But she cares a lot about Ouija as well. And now that Ouija's almost dead, like, does she have to take more of an active stand against all of this?
Yeah, and I don't know. I don't think she will. She kind of comes across as someone who's like, you need to live your life the way you're going to live your life. And I can't step in to do anything about that. It's just got to be the way that it is, which, is kind of how life is, right? You can't control people. People are going to do what they're going to do. But her sister's in the hospital. So, I mean, regardless of what's going on with Reddington, I would be surprised if she wasn't there. I'd be like, really?
Yeah.
Your sister's in the hospital. So, no, this makes sense.
Yeah, it totally does. I'm excited to see her. It's nice to have like this sort of connection again to the earlier part of this season. And finally, hopefully we get more answers on Mr. Kaplan, if we want to call her Mr. Kaplan, who was in that building.
Okay, so here's the thing. Like, we mentioned this in the last video that it was probably Maureen.
Yeah.
I mean, it looked like it was her. We've seen people zoom in on her, and it's her. And that's the thing about her, right? Like, you don't even need to zoom in on her. Like, it looked like her, but there was a part of me that was kind of like, it's too easy, man. The show is not that easy. I've seen it in the comments, my Marvin theory. Everyone's like, it's too easy. And then I was like, well, it can't be Maureen because that's just too easy. But here we are. It's Maureen.
I really still didn't think it was Maureen when I first watched the episode. Like, I was so ridiculous on this stupid, it's a projection theory that, like, I thought this could actually be a hologram or something. I don't think as good a look at her as a lot of other people did. But yeah, it being Maureen, I think the big question now becomes, okay, who got to Maureen? Who got to Clara? I mean, it really feels like there are a lot of people that whoever this big bad is, whether it be Marvin, Panabaker, or anybody else, like they are really having to run around now, and they have to be really resourceful and really aware of what Reddington is doing to be this far ahead of him.
Yeah, I can see that Maureen would blame Reddington for her sister's death and might want some sort of revenge, but she does not have the resources on her own to
No.
do this. And she's been like, I haven't seen Reddington in however many years. So it's like, okay, well, I just don't think she has the resources for this. It again feels like it has to be somebody like a Marvin or somebody in his organization, because this last episode especially, whoever this is was like one step ahead of Reddington and had to be getting pretty current information being fed to them by Reddington, and we saw that happening with Marvin. So is it possible that Marvin's using Maureen in a way to kind of be like, okay, you want your revenge? I'll help you set that up. And then he's like, okay, let's switch it around. We'll blow up Maureen. He'll think it's Kaplan. Perfect. He'll stop looking into everything and I will be completely free of this.
He's getting desperate. If this is Marvin, well, really, no matter who it is, they are getting mad desperate and intense, and I think the stress of this, they're going to crack, and I think that's where Reddington is going to be able to figure this out, and probably soon.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, it is possible that your hologram theory is true. I have seen some people in the comments talking about that, but thinking more that it's like a hologram of Maureen, and that Maureen is sort of in on this with whoever it is that's behind everything. I don't think she's behind everything. Like, she would have to have a crazy amount of money and knowledge to be making this happen, and she doesn't.
No, I think whoever it is, it has to be more impactful than Maureen. I think Marvin's impactful because we've known him a really long time. Like, I don't think it's Panabaker anymore, but if it was, that would have been impactful. Even if it's Townsend, like, at least we know Townsend. I mean, yeah, you'd have to explain how he's still alive, but at least it's like somebody who we have established as a significant threat.
Yeah, the idea that they're going to bring in somebody that we just didn't really think about all this time is just like, surprise, it's the sister. It's just kind of like, okay, this show in general is better at doing stuff like threading through who it actually is. Like, they will give enough hints throughout a season that if the audience really digs into it, that they will be able to figure it out. There's no way anyone would have ever been able to figure this out.
No, this is the best news, at least to me, is that when we first heard about this episode, I kind of just thought this was just going to be a standalone Aram thing, and we weren't really going to get a whole lot of anything else. But thanks to those photos, what you mentioned with Ouija, we are going to continue to see Reddington, so hopefully we at least move the story forward.
Yeah, I feel very hopeful that by the end of this season, we are going to know who's behind it, and we are going to go into season 10 with a Reddington versus fill in the blank.
That could be really, really fun. And you know what would be even more fun? If Reddington puts on the bear mask while he does it. Okay, I am done with the bear mask. Let us know what you think is going to happen in this episode. And if you guys want the Blacklist to send me the mask, also.
No. Unsubscribe right now.
No. Also follow us on Instagram, MadAjustTV, and we will see you here next time.